What's up, guys? So a few days ago, I mentioned in a video, I think in my what I got for Christmas video, that I was gonna do a review. Mass Effect Paragon Lost, which is the first Mass Effect anime. I got it on the 28th of December. It said it was going to be released 28th of December, but it was already floating around YouTube before that. But I didn't watch it on YouTube. I waited until I got my copy. Now, for those of you that are new to my reviews, my reviews usually tend to be spoiler free, and also I don't just say, oh, it's good, boom, 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 3 minutes are done, bye. They usually take longer because I usually talk a little bit more about it, so you can get a good idea of it and whether you really want to pick it up or not. This is said to be a prequel to Mass Effect 3, not so much like it directly connects into Mass Effect 3, like you have to see this so that you can understand Mass Effect 3. It's not that kind of prequel. It's more like it just comes before Mass Effect 3. It's a story that happens before it. It's about James Vega. As you can see, he's right there. That's not Liara. She looked like her, but not Liara. I even forgot her name. She's another Asari, and she's also a Prothean archaeologist like Liara. And I think her mentor is Liara. A few characters are introduced in this anime that are not in any of the games besides James Vega, that were really cool, that I really liked. I was like, man, I would have loved to see him or her in this game. But this story is actually the story that James Vega was talking to you about when you're fighting him, like when you're sparring with him. Early on in Mass Effect 3, he starts to talk about, and then he talks more about it later on, but that's where he starts mentioning it. This one mission that he was on a colony, I think it was Fel Prime, when the Collectors attacked. During the 2 years that Shepard was dead, during Mass Effect 2 and all that. So this happened then. I think what I really liked about James Vega, I mean, I've always loved James Vega. A lot of people, you either love him or hate him. I've heard a lot of people that hate James Vega, and I've heard a lot of people that love him. I'm one of those that love him. I think the point, this might not be it for everybody, but a lot of people that don't like James Vega, I've asked them, did you ever take him on your squad? And they're like, no, not really. And I think that's probably why. They probably don't like him that much. Now, for the people that did take him on their squad and still don't like him, then okay, whatever. But people that don't like him maybe didn't give him too much of a chance. I think Freddie Prinze Jr. did such a great job with James Vega, with his voice acting. I loved it. I think it's perfect for him. You just get to know more about James on missions. He talks a lot. He says a lot of cool things. He's pretty funny. I love his interactions between other characters, especially like Liara. He like really jokes around with her a lot and calls her Doc and all this stuff. It's just awesome. I just love James Vega. And a lot of the developers really like James Vega as well. He's one of the favorites for a lot of the Mass Effect team, which is why they wanted to do the first anime about James Vega, because they thought that there was a lot to him that they could do. This is the Blu-ray version. Actually, it's a combo pack. It comes with the Blu-ray version and the DVD version. It was cheaper on Amazon if you got it like this, which is awesome because I got both. It has quite a few extras, actually, 45 minutes of extras, and I saw them all already, and they're really cool, actually, especially the one that's called Directing Effect, I think, where they're talking to, I think, the art director and Casey Hudson. So it goes a lot into a lot of stuff about Mass Effect 3 and a lot about Paragon Lost and the characters and just how they came up with it. And it goes into the sound design and the art, the way the characters look, how they started off and how they went. It's pretty cool. I like the extras, especially that one, Directing Effect. But they were saying how they really liked James Vega, and that's why they chose to do this anime about him, because there's a lot to talk about when it comes to James, and he's got a really deep personality and backstory, and he's a soldier, and there's just so much potential in storytelling when it comes to soldiers, like say Shepard. He's like a fan, like a fanboy of Shepard's. even before he works with him. So during when Shepard died, that's why I was like, why is he wearing that? Where it says "never forget" or something like that. The Normandy. He's got this little like pin of the Normandy, and it says "never forget" or something like that. It's just the little pin that he has wearing right there. And I was like, is that after Mass Effect 3? Is this like a flashback or something? Why does he have that? But it wasn't. It was just out of like respect from when he heard that Shepard had died, because he admired him a lot. He was an inspiration for James Shepard. Now I might mention Shepard as a he because my Shepard was a he. So, but just know that I mean he or she, 'cause, you know. But yeah, I loved seeing how James was affected by Shepard's death in Mass Effect 2, so much that he felt like he needed to wear that, even though he had never met Shepard. It was just pretty cool. You just get to see another side to James that that I think the game didn't really go into, about how much Shepard meant to him. That he was like, his hero, his inspiration. He pretty much does everything based off of what Shepard would do. It starts off right when Shepard dies, and the whole thing plays out during those 2 years that Shepard is presumably dead. That's when the Collectors attack. And Casey Hudson was saying that they really wanted to show what happened while Shepard was MIA, missing, or presumed dead. And James Vega was on a squad, 5 squad members plus the captain or whatever, the guy that was in charge. And then the Asari, she was just a doctor that was coming along to investigate Prothean stuff. I thought the characters were so awesome. I remember some of their names: Milk, Essex. Essex was a biotic. Milk was like an infiltrator. He was the sniper guy. He's right here. And the girl, I forgot her name. All the characters were freaking awesome. Oh, and there was a pilot. You really grow to like these characters, and I think Mass Effect does that very well. Where they introduce awesome characters. It's hard for them to introduce characters that you don't like. Like, there have been 1 or 2 here and there, but a lot of them are really cool, and they did the same thing with this. If you're wondering how it compares to the Dragon Age anime, it doesn't really compare at all. The Dragon Age anime, Dawn of the Seeker, was made to look very anime-ish, but still like very real. Like, there was a lot of aspects where you're like, dude, that looks awesome. That almost looks real. It was very realistic in the way it looks in that style of anime. But this one is very anime, like it's very cartoony. And the guy from Funimation that was talking and saying that he wasn't sure how he's going to make it look. He thought it was probably better to make it look more realistic, because that's pretty much what makes Mass Effect stand out, is like those awesome cinematics. He was saying, you know what, I think it works better with it looking cartoony, because it gave it another feel that he just loved. So it's very cartoony, but it's still perfect. It fits very well. The Krogan look kind of weird. I ever since I saw the trailer, I was like, man, the Krogan look weird. I didn't really like the way the Krogan looked, but it's okay, whatever. It doesn't matter. It didn't really affect you too much. You kind of got used to how the Krogan would look. They don't come out that much anyways. I think the biggest point to this anime is just to show the personality of James Vega, how he became who he was, and just the things that he's gone through, and just show the type of mentality that he has, and like I said, how he became to be who he was in Mass Effect 3. It starts off kind of slow, and by slow, I mean like where you're just like, okay, whatever, that has nothing to do with the story. Like, it does, like, it has more to do with preparing the character more than it does to the actual story. The actual story, like the actual story that James Vega was talking about when it comes to the Collectors, doesn't start until later. So the beginning is just, it's kind of like a long exposition where they're just setting it all up and kind of introducing you to all the characters. And it's a good thing to do that every time with movies and all that. But this one was kind of longer, and you're just like, all right, come on, get to it. But it was still interesting because you got to see some stuff and you got to really get to know the personality of the other characters before you jump right into the story. I wasn't very interested in the beginning. It doesn't pick up until later. Like, it starts picking up a lot. It goes into these decisions. I think it even says here, the hardest thing a hero will ever do is live with the choices he makes. And that's in towards the end of the anime that it gets pretty sad, actually. It's just like, wow. It's kind of powerful at the end, towards the end. Especially if you really like the character, if you like James Vega, you just really feel for him. Because I did. I was just like, damn, that sucks. I kind of wish you would have been able to see what he had gone through more in Mass Effect 3. I guess they didn't really know about this then because, they didn't really integrate it. It's more like they took what he said from Mass Effect 3 and made this, and not so much made these together. Because if they had made these together, I think they would have took more of what was in here and of what had happened to James and put sprinkles of it in Mass Effect 3, and I think it would have been awesome for the character. I don't want to give too much about the story, but it does go into a little bit about the Protheans. It goes a little bit into Reaper artifacts. It goes a little bit into the Reapers, actually, and they still don't believe that the Reapers are true, or that they're just a myth. It goes into Cerberus, the Collectors, of course, and how they took the colony of Fel Prime. Like I said, I think the coolest thing about this, my favorite thing, was how it just fleshed out James Vega more. Throughout the whole thing, it gave him a lot of personality and backstory, and yeah, it just fleshed him out as a character, which was really cool. So if you like James Vega, I would say definitely watch this because it really goes into him and who he was and how he became who he is in Mass Effect 3. But if you don't like James Vega, I'd almost say still watch it, because I think a lot of people miss out on James Vega because people that just don't like him. I didn't really like James Vega from the beginning. I was like, man, I don't think I'm gonna like this guy. I thought he was gonna be some wannabe beefcake with no brains and only brawn kind of thing, but he's not. There's so much more to him that I think a lot of people don't give him credit for, because they either say they don't like him, decide that they don't like him early on in Mass Effect 3, and don't take him on any missions, because I know how that is, where you're just like, I don't really like this character, I'm not going to take him on missions. I want to take Garrus instead, because I want to hear what he says, and because he's useful and all that. I started taking James more and more and more, not because I really liked him, but because he was very useful. Like, in my squad, I was like, dude, this guy's awesome. He can be very powerful if you level him up. My squad is almost always Garrus and James. Give it a try. If you don't want to play with James in the game, at least watch this. This might make you want to take James. Give him a chance to know more about him, because this does delve a lot into his character, and you guys might see another side to him that you probably didn't see. Like I said, it could be kind of annoying to see things where you're just like, oh, the Krogan look bad, or the Krogan look weird, because they do look weird. But there's just so much cool in this anime. The other characters are really funny, they're really cool, and there are some moments that just tug at your heart. They really do, especially because of how they make it play out. But just remember that it does kind of start slow, just expect that, but know that it does pick up a lot. Freddie Prinze Jr. comes back to do the voice of James Vega, which is awesome, because I hate when they change their voices. Hackett is not the same voice, Anderson is not the same voice, so it's kind of like, you kind of don't really like to hear them, but they hardly come out anyways. But Freddie Prinze Jr. does come back for James Vega, which is awesome. I was like, oh, that's perfect. It just adds to that experience and to that character development, making you see him as the James Vega from the games. And I do recommend it for James Vega lovers and for those that don't like James Vega. Because I really think that he's one of those characters that you just have to give him a chance. You have to give him a chance, because if not, you really don't know what who he is. The way that James Vega looks is not the way his personality is. It's like it does, like his look does fit his personality, but there's so much more to that stereotype when you just look at him. He doesn't fit the stereotype, because I thought he was going to be your typical stereotype character, but he's not. Just give him a try, watch this. If you still don't like him, then whatever. At least you enjoyed a pretty cool anime. And I'm sure you're going to like one of the other characters as well, because they're really cool. And you do get to know more about the collectors and more about what happened during that time, during Shepard's death, when all the colonies were being taken over by the collectors and that stuff. So you do learn a little bit more about the Mass Effect lore and what happened during that time. And like Casey Hudson said, he was like, I was so excited to be able to see inside of a Mako, because they do go on a Mako and you could see inside of it. It's not this big huge deal, but he was like really happy about that. He was like, we haven't been able to show that in any of the games. He's like, and I think fans would love to see the inside of a Mako just for curiosity's sake. So yeah, and then you get to go to Fel Prime and see what that looks like, and it looks really, really cool. So you just get to travel the galaxy and see places that you haven't seen in the Mass Effect universe or in the Mass Effect games. Let me know if you guys watched it, if you guys liked it. For those of you, if you watched it and you didn't like James Vega, let me know what you think about James Vega now. Do you like him now, or do you not like him? I'm just curious about that. That's pretty much it. Thank you for watching. I'll talk to you guys later.